take out one of those sonic whistles. Have you seen those things? And they go, and every dog in the park goes. And by now, the master is now picking up rocks out of the ground and throwing them at his best friend. Now for his best friend to pick up and bring back to take his bloody brains out. Now the dog thinks this is a new game. Now fetch the brick instead of the stick. And off he goes. And every time he picks it up, another one goes over his head, so he drops that one. And I've actually saw a fellow in Richmond Park as close to a cardiac arrest as anybody. I actually heard him say, if you do not come now, you will walk home.
Hello?
Is that Victoria Station?
No, it's not.
Are you still holding?
No, you got the wrong number, mate.
I'll just answer it.
Pops are held up in stores. Hello? Hello? Why don't you just piss off?
Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, which was fine until he invented the second one. Now, when I was a child in the olden days, at home in Ireland, our phone was something that you looked at. You never touched it. It was taboo, off limits, only to be used in very serious matters or matters of emergency, and then only by adults. This telephone used to sit in our hallway like a black god. And we always talk in kind of servile, reverential tones. As a 3-year-old, I used to tiptoe past the bloody telephone. If it rang, I'd wet myself. It was a thing of awe. I mean, it was an extraordinary thing to tell them. And when the phone rang in our house, we would all, as a unit, as a family unit, we'd all gather around it. And my father would pick up the phone. I mean, some of the greatest events in the world I discovered via the telephone. I'm 3 years of age, and my father picks up the phone there. We're all standing there, and he says, "Oh, dear," puts the phone down and turns to us all and says, "Adolf Hitler has invaded Poland." And they all went, "Oh, I'm 3. I go, "Oh." Another time, "Aunt Alice is dead." And they all went, "Oh, Simon, oh." So the funeral's Tuesday, there'll be no school. Hooray! And it was a sneak as well. It knew everything, the telephone. We gathered around it one day. My father spoke into the telephone. It rang. He spoke into it. He put the phone down. He looked at me and he said, "What were you doing in Delaney's orchard?" Bloody telephone. Sneaked on me. And then, over the years, as I grew up, when I was about 7, I began to deal with it in a better way. I was aware it wasn't such an extraordinary item anymore. Got a bit casual with it, but it's still wary of it, a little bit daring. We'd pick it up occasionally and listen to the dialing tone. That's how far our daring went, the dialing tone. We'd all be sitting around going, I can hear the dialing tone. We'd invite friends who would all be sitting around listening to the dialing tone. We'd be in school. "What did you do yesterday?" "I listened to the dialing tone." "Shit, did you? My Christ, can I come to your house and listen to your dialing tone?" "Yeah." "I'll give you an apple." "Yeah, fine." But the attitude to telephones has changed enormously over the years. Now that we all have telephones. We're all aware of telephones. We react to telephones. And we're now so sophisticated, so blasé. It's not a rarity for telephones. You were sitting in your house, and your telephone rings. We have actually got to the point of sophistication. We don't want to talk anymore. The telephone rings in your house, and you'll say things like, "My God, is there no privacy? Can I never get away from this thing? God, I thought I'd do it all day at work and all the time, and I get home, and it's non-stop." Or you'll hear yourself say something like, "If that's for me, tell him I'm not here." Isn't that extraordinary? And now we've reached the point that we don't want to talk to people on telephones, so we have a machine. We've developed answering machines to answer machines. first thing you do, you come home, you listen to your answering machine. And there'll be a message to say, so-and-so rang, would you please ring back such and such a number? And you do, and you talk to his machine. And you go out, you come back, there's another message from this bastard, so you phone his machine again. This can go on for years. You meet each other in the street, and you've got no bloody idea what you were talking about. There are now machines. We talk about sophistication in machines. There are now machines. Not only can you program to receive calls, but you can actually program your telephone to send messages. At certain times of the day, you program, it will activate itself, it will phone certain numbers, it will leave a message, activate itself to record a message, right throughout the day. And you have nothing to do with it. You come home in the evening, and you possibly programmed your telephone, say, to make 14 calls through the day. Can you imagine coming home and he's made 18? You're sitting there thinking, who's the little bastard talking to? What is he talking about? Is he talking about me? And is he paying for these calls? Who is? Have you noticed how perverse telephones are? If you're sitting in your house, alone, sadly lonely, feeling unloved or depressed or whatever it is, wanting, desiring some sort of contact with a human being, nobody will phone you. But on the other hand, if you're having a wonderful time, enjoying yourself to the extreme, like you haven't enjoyed yourself for a year, like you're sitting in a warm bath, beautiful hot bath, suffering joy, pleasure seeping into every pore of your body. Oh, it's very wonderful. Or you're squeezing a blackhead. Whoa, or you're making love, or doing all three at the same time. Every bastard in the world wants to talk to you. You nearly climax 7 times. Get back into the bath. Where was I? No, I wasn't. And then there's the other side, what I would call wrong numbers. The perversity of wrong numbers is extraordinary. Have you ever noticed that wrong numbers are never engaged? You notice that? You'll always get through to a wrong number. You go home tonight, pick 10 random numbers from the phone book, they'll all answer, hello? Now we have domestic telephones, which are capable of taking 3 incoming calls at the same time on the one receiver. And people think isn't that wonderful? I'm Irish. I don't know. What the hell is that about? Why have 3 calls coming in? You can only answer or speak to one person at a time. But people seem to, people seem to love this. Gives them a sense of power. You're talking to somebody on the phone saying, hello, I know it's a nice day today, and what did you do? And then they'll suddenly say, excuse me, hang on a second, will you? Would you just hang on a second? I've just got another call coming in. They go, what? I've got another call coming in. I've got one of those machines. Then they start to boast about it. I've got one of those machines that can take 3 incoming calls at the same time. So do you mind if I just put you on hold? You go, what? I'm just going to put you on hold, all right? Just for a few minutes. Hold. What? Hang on. So, wait, I was here first. Why don't you put those other people on bloody hold? Why me? And they go, and you're on hold. And not only are you on hold, not only are you paying for this, but now you're subjected to that digital crap music. You sit there, you're paying for the call, and it's going dong 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 dong. I mean, who wrote it? Some dyslexic throwback, for Christ's sake? You're sitting there, ding 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 ding. You talk about advanced technology. You don't have telephones for the deaf now. Did you know that? They don't ring, they just light up so the deaf person can see there's somebody on the phone. They pick it up and say, hello. Voice, would you believe me? Voice identification buttons. This is progress. Voice identification. Your telephone is capable, once you command it, to identify a voice and remember that. So if you're talking to somebody, you don't like on the telephone, you press the button. And this informs your telephone memory bank that you don't like this person. And the next time they phone, your telephone will recognize the voice and cut them off. I had a telephone engineer at the house, and he's showing me the latest telephone. It has, believe it or not, I mean, I don't work for the CIA or MI5 or anybody like that, a secrecy button on the telephone. Secrecy button. It's actually clearly marked, secrecy button. And I said, what's a secrecy button? And he said, well, you know, when you're on a telephone, there's always a point in the conversation when you're talking to somebody that you don't want them to hear what you're saying. I said, there is? He said, yes, there is. It's not that you don't want to, it's just that you actually think they're an arsehole. There's always a point when you're talking to somebody and you think, what an arsehole. And what you normally do is you cover the mouthpiece and mime. You don't have to do that now. All you have to do is press the button. And you can say as loud as you like, he's an arsehole! And he won't hear you. And I said, well, hang on a second. If I'm talking to somebody and suddenly there's silence, I know he's pressed the button. And I know he's calling me an arsehole. And when he comes back, he'll say, now what was I saying? I was saying, you were saying I was an arsehole. I put the phone down. Now, in our society, at one time, phones were rare. Now they're commonplace. They're everywhere. Portable phones are now the in thing. I wander around London. I sit on a tube, or I sit on a bus, trains, wherever I am. I see people sitting in it, and they'll open a briefcase, or a handbag, or the satchel, or the pocket. Out this thing will come. And they go, you see them now on the streets, walking up and down the streets in London, talking on the telephone. And it's always that kind of, yeah, well, of course, yes. Well, I personally would, I'd keep it to my chest if I were you. I wouldn't let them know, because I think it might actually help them out. And you see these, and I'm thinking, I'm dying, I'm waiting. Oh, please, God. I go to church, I light candles. Please, God, let one of those bastards walk into a lamppost. I'd love to see them walking around. Yes, I'll phone you back. Hello, is that the ambulance service? Yeah, I broke my nose. Yes, portable phone. Now we have portable. Now we have car phones. Car phone. Two of the most stress-making machines in the world have combined together: the telephone and the car. They account for more dead people in the world than any other two objects. Telephones and cars. Do you know the stress you go through on the telephone? Has anybody ever cut you off on the telephone? Has anybody ever said, oh, shut up, and put the phone down? Have you noticed? You continue to talk for about 10 or 15 seconds after that. You, what are you, how dare you? What the, shut up, It's the same at cars. You watch people in cars. The stress of people in cars, the rage of people in cars. Now they've got the telephone in the car with them. Driving with one hand. Get you, dickhead! No, not you. No, somebody else out there. I'm going to get one of those car telephones. Not because I want it for myself. I just want to be in a traffic jam and lean out to the person next to me and say, excuse me, it's for you. My children have grown up, in a sense, in a different way.